I was only 9 years old when I saw the old woman crawl into the hut on her hands and feet, her back twisted like a spider. She was whispering to a newborn baby. And the baby suddenly stopped crying. My name is Daniel. I grew up in a small village in southern Nigeria. This happened a long time ago, but even now, when I close my eyes, I still see her face. Everyone in my village talked about Mama Tin. She was the oldest woman in the whole area. No one knew her real age. Some said she was over 100. Some said she was older than the village itself. But the strange thing was this. She never looked weak. Her skin was wrinkled, yes. Her back was bent. But her eyes were sharp like a young person's. Too sharp. Too alive. My mother always told me, don't look at her too long. Don't talk to her. And if you ever see her near a baby, run. I never understood why. Until the night everything changed. One evening, heavy rain fell. Thunder shook the roofs. People stayed inside, holding lanterns close to their faces. Our neighbor, Amina, had given birth 2 days before. The baby cried a lot, but that night, the crying was worse. It sounded like pain. Like fear. My mother grabbed my arm and whispered, do not go outside tonight. But I was a curious 9-year-old. So when she slept off by the fire, I slept outside. The rain had stopped. The whole village was quiet. Too quiet. I walked toward Amina's hut because the crying had suddenly stopped. Not slowly. Not gently. Just stopped. Like someone pressed a button. When I got close, I heard a voice. It was low. Shaky. Old. It was Mama Tin. She was inside Amina's hut. I knew I should go back, but something pushed me to look through the small hole in the wall. That was the biggest mistake of my life. Inside the hut, Amina and her husband were asleep, lying heavily, like they were drugged. The lantern was still on. And there, beside the baby's mat, was Mama Tin. She wasn't standing. She wasn't kneeling. She was crawling. Her back was arched high. Her neck was bent too far forward. Her fingers were long and shaking like she had too many joints. Her face was so close to the newborn's face that I thought she might bite it. But she didn't. Instead, she whispered, just a little life, only a little, let me drink it. I felt ice go through my body. She opened her mouth, but instead of teeth, I saw gums, black, wet gums, like something sick, something hungry. The baby looked straight at her. Not crying. Not moving. Just staring. Then something impossible happened. The wrinkles on her face started fading. Not fast. Slowly. But I saw it. Her skin pulled tighter. Her lips filled out. Her breathing changed. She looked younger. Not young, but younger than before. Like she was drinking the baby's life without touching it. I stepped back and hit a stick on the ground by accident. The sound was small. Very small. But she heard it. Her head snapped around so fast that her neck cracked. Her eyes locked on me through the hole. I froze. She didn't blink. She didn't move. She just stared at me with those young, bright eyes sitting on an old, crooked body. Then she smiled. The kind of smile someone makes when they finally find the thing they were hunting. She whispered, come. I ran. I ran so fast that I tripped 3 times before I reached my door. I didn't look back. I didn't breathe. I didn't think. I slammed the door shut and hid under my mother's wrapper, shaking so hard the bed moved. For many nights, I couldn't sleep. I listened for crawling sounds. For whispers. For anything. But nothing came. Villagers shouted early in the morning. People gathered around Amina's hut. The baby was alive, but weak. Very weak. Amina swore the baby had been crying and suddenly stopped. Then she said something even worse. When I woke up, Mama Tin was sitting beside my door, smiling. That same day, the village elders went to speak with her. But she had already left. No one saw her again. Some people said she died in the forest. Some said she moved to another village to renew herself again. Some said she never existed at all. But I know what I saw. I saw her drink life from a baby without touching it. I saw her body change. I saw her eyes, her smile. And sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet, I feel like I still hear her whisper. Just a little life. The night Mama Tin returned, I heard her crawling under my window. She whispered my name. And this time, she wasn't alone. After the night I saw Mama Tin taking life from the baby, my life changed. I stopped sleeping well. I kept waking up sweating. I kept dreaming of her bent body, her bright young eyes, her cracking bones. But the worst part was this. I could still hear her whisper. Even in broad daylight. Sometimes behind me. Sometimes inside the walls. Sometimes in my dreams. Always the same words. Just a little life. My mother thought I was sick. She took me to a healer. The healer said my spirit must have been touched by fear. I wanted to tell her that it was not fear. It was her. One night, I went to the river to fetch water. That was when I heard elders whispering under the big mango tree. I hid and listened. They were talking about missing babies. 3 villages away, newborns were dying. Some were gone in the night. Some were found weak with no clear cause. One man said, "This thing is not new. It has happened before." Another said, "She is back. The woman of night hunger." My heart froze. I knew who they were talking about. But when I stepped back, a twig cracked under my foot. All the men looked in my direction. "Who is there? Show yourself." I didn't wait. I ran home with the bucket still empty. People became scared. They locked doors early. They kept fires burning all night. New mothers tied charms to their babies' feet. But something strange began to happen. Every night, goats or chickens went missing. Not eaten. Not stolen. Just gone. It was like something was building strength. Waiting for the right time. One morning, we woke up to find claw marks on the chief's hut. Long, deep marks like something dragged its nails across the wall. My mother said, "She is close." I asked her how she knew. She said, "Because every fear has a smell. And the air tonight stinks of old death." It happened during Harmattan, when the night air is cold and sharp. I was sleeping when I heard something soft brushing the outside of my window. A slow, dragging sound. Something crawling. Then I heard it. "Daniel. Daniel. Come." My heart stopped. It was her voice. I froze under my blanket, praying to disappear. But the whisper came again. "I know you saw me. Now I must take what you owe." I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. Then I heard a second voice. Thin. Childlike. "Mama. I am hungry." I felt my legs go numb. There was another one with her. I slowly turned my head to look at the window. There was a shadow there. Small. Humanoid. But the head was wrong. Too big for the body. It was tapping the window lightly with its fingers. Tap, tap, tap. Then the tapping stopped. And a face pressed against the window. It was not human. Big eyes. Thin lips. Skin as pale as ash. It smiled. My bladder almost gave out. I whispered for my mother, but she didn't wake up. Then the creature whispered, "Mama, he is awake." And from the darkness outside, I heard her laugh. Soft. Slow. Knowing. Good. I like them awake. Suddenly, someone screamed from outside. "Fire! Fire!" fire. The whole village burst into noise. I jumped from my bed and looked out. The chief's granary was burning. Villagers were shouting, running, throwing sand. The shadow at my window pulled back quickly. Mama Teen hissed like something wild. Then I heard her crawl away fast, her hands and feet hitting the ground like an animal running. The small creature followed her. I did not sleep again that night. The next morning, the village elders gathered everyone. One elder said, "She is no ordinary woman." Another said, "She can live forever if she fits. We must stop her now." The hunters formed a group. They planned to patrol all night with fire, drums, and charms. But I knew something they didn't. She was not alone anymore. She had a child. A creature. Maybe one she had created from stolen life. I tried to tell them what I saw, but no one wanted to listen to a child. My mother believed me. But she told me something worse. "You are marked now. She will not stop until she touches you." The elders planned their watch, but the night came too quiet. Too dark. No wind. No insects. Around midnight, the drumming stopped. People began whispering. "Where are the hunters? Why is it so quiet?" Then we heard it. A single scream. A man's scream. Cut short. My mother grabbed my hand and pulled me under the bed. The whole village started shaking. Dogs barked loudly. Then suddenly stopped. Then we heard footsteps. Soft. Slow. Coming toward our hut. Then crawling. Something dragged itself along the ground, sniffing the air. My mother held me tightly. I heard her whisper, "Do not breathe." Then the footsteps stopped right outside our door. And a voice said, "Daniel, come out." My heart almost stopped beating. It tapped the door once. Twice. And then silence. Long, painful silence. Until we heard screams from another hut. She had gone there instead. Everything ended suddenly. At dawn, the hunters who survived said they cornered her in the far bush. She was weak. Very weak. The creature with her was limping, almost crawling. Some hunters said they killed her. Others said she escaped in smoke. One said she turned into a hawk and flew away. But one thing was certain. We found the bodies of 2 hunters drained of life, like old leather. After that night, no one saw Mama Teen again. The village built stronger charms. Women slept with fires burning all night. Life slowly returned to normal. But here is the part one never told anyone. Many years later, when I was 17, an old man from another village visited ours. He saw me. Stared too long. Then said, "Oh, so you are the boy she marked. I know her story." I asked him what story. He said, "Mama Teen had a child once. A baby that died. She tried to bring it back with dark things. And ever since then, she has been looking for a child with strong life to replace the one she lost." Then he looked at me strangely and said, "She did not pick you by mistake." I still don't know what he meant. But sometimes, late at night, when I'm alone, I still hear tapping at my window. Very soft. Very slow. Tap. 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 And a whisper. Just a little life. After the nightmare years in my village, my mother sent me away. She said staying there was dangerous. She believed Mama Teen had marked me, and one day she would come again. So I left for the city. I grew older. I found work as a teacher. Life became normal. But the fear never truly left. Every knock at night made my heart jump. Every strange shadow made me look twice. Still, 10 years passed without any sign of her. I started to believe she was dead. That the hunters had killed her. Until the tapping returned. It happened on a Monday night. I was grading papers when I heard tap, 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 The sound froze my blood instantly. I told myself it was a bird, or a branch, or my imagination. But the tapping continued. Slow. Purposeful. Then a voice whispered, "Daniel." I stood still. My breath stopped. I slowly walked to the window and saw something that almost made me faint. A small boy stood outside. Barefoot. Thin. Skin grayish like ash. Eyes too big for his face. The same creature from my childhood, but older, taller, stronger. He smiled at me. "Mama wants you." My knees shook. He spoke again. "She is dying." When I opened the door, he stepped inside like he had done it many times. He talked in short, broken words, like someone who learned speech late. He told me the truth. Mama Tin was not feeding on babies anymore. She was too weak. She was dying. She lived in the deep forest now, alone. And she sent him to find me because you are the one she could not finish. You have the life she needs. You are her last chance. My heart pounded. I asked him why he listened to her. He looked away and said, "She made me. I owe her." Then he held out his hand to me. His fingers were longer than normal. Thin. Cold. Calm. I should have run. Called the police. Hidden under my bed. But something pulled me. Maybe fear. Maybe anger. Maybe the need to finally end it. I followed him. We walked for hours. Left the city. Entered the smaller roads. Then the dirt paths. Then the forest. At one point, I asked, "Where exactly are we going?" He pointed deeper into the trees. To the place she died before and lived again. I didn't know what that meant. And I didn't want to know. We reached an old place with broken stones and carved faces. A shrine that looked forgotten for many years. The air felt heavy. Sad. Cold. At the center of the shrine was a small hut made of mud and sticks. The boy stood outside and whispered, "She is inside." I took a deep breath and entered. The hut was dark. Smelled of smoke and wet earth. Then I saw her. Mama Tin. But not the creature I remembered. She was lying on a mat. Thin. Weak. Barely breathing. Her skin was hanging on her bones. Her eyes were dim. Her hair was white like cotton. She looked human. Like a dying grandmother. I stood frozen. She sensed me and opened her eyes. I expected anger. Or hunger. Or darkness. But instead, she whispered my name with sadness. "Daniel." My chest tightened. She looked at the boy who brought me and said, "Leave us." He left. Then she spoke. Her voice was soft, shaky. She said she was born many generations ago. Her baby died when she was young. She couldn't accept it. She went to a dark priest. He taught her a ritual to hold on to life. But the ritual needed life from others. New life. Small life. And each time she fed, she regained years. But lost her soul. I asked why she wanted me. She said, "Because you saw me, and lived. Because your spirit is strong. Because I wanted a child again." I felt sick. She looked at the roof and whispered, "I am old now, too old. The darkness is leaving me." Then she looked at me with eyes full of regret. "I did not call you here to take your life." I stepped back, confused. She continued, "I called you here so I can give mine back." She reached out her hand. Shaking. Weak. I hesitated. She whispered, "Let me end this." I took her hand. The moment I touched her, something warm passed through her palm into mine. Like a soft wind. Like heat. like relief. She sighed deeply. Her eyes slowly closed. Her chest stopped moving. Her hand dropped. Mama Tin died holding my hand. And in her last breath, she whispered, "Thank you." The boy entered the hut again. He looked at her body, then at me. No anger. No sadness. Just emptiness. He said, "She is free." I nodded. He walked outside. But before leaving, he turned back and said something that still chills my bones. "She gave you her life. You will live long now. Longer than others. Maybe too long." I didn't understand. He tilted his head and looked closely at me. "Your eyes, they look like hers now." I ran to a pool of water outside the shrine. When I leaned over, I saw my reflection. My eyes were brighter. Sharper. Almost glowing. Just like hers. I dropped the water bowl in shock. I'm writing this now because something strange has started happening to me. Kids stare at me for too long. Dogs avoid me. I don't get tired easily. I don't fall sick. And 2 nights ago, I heard a tapping on my window. Soft. Slow. Tap. 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 When I looked, it wasn't Mama Tin. It wasn't the boy. It was a newborn child crawling on my wall, smiling and whispering, "Mama sent me." I don't know how long I stood in that forest, holding that shaking baby and staring at the dark emptiness where the old woman had been. My legs felt like they were not mine. My mind felt heavy, like it was trying to shut itself down so I wouldn't go mad. But I knew one thing. I could not go back to the hut. Not alone. Not tonight. So I tied the baby tight to my chest with my shirt, and I ran. I didn't stop. I didn't look behind me. I didn't care if branches cut my face or thorns tore my feet. I just ran. By the time I reached the village, my throat felt like sandpaper. I was sweating like rain. People came out of their houses when they heard me shouting, "Help! Help! Someone take the baby!" Men gathered. Women screamed in shock. The chief was called out of his house. I kept pointing at the forest, trying to speak, but my tongue felt too heavy. When I finally caught my breath, I told them everything. Every single thing. No one laughed. No one doubted. Because, unknown to me, 3 babies had gone missing that month. Their mothers stood behind the crowd, crying, shaking, holding their heads. One of them even fainted when she saw the baby tied to my chest. She thought it was hers. It wasn't, but the pain in her eyes crushed me. The chief didn't waste time. He picked 12 strong hunters. They grabbed their guns, cutlasses, and charms. The oldest medicine man in the village tied red cloth on everyone's wrist and rubbed something bitter on our tongues, so evil spirits cannot whisper to you. They told me to stay behind. But I refused. I don't know where the strength came from, but I said, "I'm going to." The chief looked at me long and hard, then nodded. We moved into the forest in a straight line, torches held high. Every time the wind blew, someone flinched. Every dried leaf that cracked under our feet felt like a warning. When we reached the hut, it looked completely different. The roof was sagging. The walls were half rotten. The pots were smashed. The smell of herbs was gone. The place looked abandoned, like it hadn't been lived in for years. Even the footprints from the night before had faded. One of the hunters whispered, "She knows we are coming." Another said, "Or she is not a person at all." We searched the hut. We searched the ground. We searched the trees. Nothing. Then we saw it. A small hole behind the hut. Hidden under dried leaves. A tunnel. We crawled in one by one. I don't think I will ever forget the sight inside. The tunnel opened into a small underground room. The air was cold and wet. In the corner, there were piles of tiny clothes, the kind worn by newborn babies. Some were torn. Some were stained. Some were still neatly folded. One of the hunters started crying. A grown man. Crying like a child. The chief whispered, "This is where she keeps them." But she was not there. We checked every corner of the forest that night, but we didn't see even a shadow of her. We stayed out until sunrise, but the only thing we found were strange footprints near the river, bare feet, but with toes spread wide like an animal. All facing deep into the forest. After that night, baby stopped going missing. The forest became quiet again. People said she ran away. Some said she died. Some said she turned into a bird or a shadow and slipped into another village. But me, I don't think she left. I think she is still out there. Watching. Waiting. Growing old again. Because sometimes, when I walk near the forest at dusk, I smell that same bitter, sweet herb. The same one she used in her hut. The same one she used to keep herself young. And sometimes, I swear I hear someone whisper my name. Not loudly. Not angrily. But the way an old woman whispers to a child she's trying to come. Come. I only want to talk. I never go near the forest alone anymore. And when a baby cries late at night, I always check the window. Just in case. Because I know this one thing for sure. Evil doesn't die. It only grows old. And waits for a chance to be young again. So that's my story. The old woman was never caught. The forest is still there. And even now, when a baby cries at night, people in my village shut their windows fast, because nobody knows if she's truly gone, or just waiting for another newborn to steal their youth again. Sometimes I still dream of her voice. Sometimes I feel like she's watching me from the shadows. Maybe she will never return. Maybe she will. But one thing is sure. Evil doesn't die. It only hides. And waits for the right night to breathe again. If you want to hear more true African folktale horrors. If you want more stories that keep you awake at night. Stay tuned to Vaultside Stories. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a story. More chilling tales are coming. You don't want to miss them.